Welcome to the 12th video in this series, making Frogger with Godot. In this one, we're going to get the lily pad added to our lanes. So before we dive into the IDE, let's take a quick look at how this is going to work. It's a little bit more complicated than the other items we have. It's actually going to be an inherited scene, inheriting from the lane item. We're going to be adding a little bit of custom code into it as well as a couple of nodes. We'll have an animation player and we'll have a timer. So the way it'll work is by having a float time variable, which we'll set in the inspector. And that will say how long it's going to basically be there before it disappears. We'll then use the timer to actually time that time floating. And when the time runs out, the timer will emit a signal saying, hey, I've run out. And at that point, it'll start playing a vanish animation on the animation player. When the animation player finishes playing that animation, it's going to restart the timer, but this time using a submerged time. And then when the timer fires, it'll basically reset itself to become visible again and start the timer again with the float time, and the whole thing repeats. So effectively, we go through a cycle of sitting there for a few seconds visible, disappearing slowly, staying disappeared for a few seconds, reappearing, and so on. So inside the scene, you'll see an animation player, a timer, a couple of signals for the animations finishing and the timer timing out, and a couple of variables to set up the float time and the submerged time. In addition to that, we'll also add another property into the inspector, and that's simply how long it has to wait before this cycle sort of starts so that we don't have all of our lily pads completely in sequence with each other. So back in the IDE then, let's go and create our lily pad. So we'll do scene and new inherited scene, and we're going to inherit from our lane item. Change the name of this to lane item lily pad. Control S to save, and save this in the lane item folder. And for the sprite 2D on the right hand side, we can browse. We want the pads.png. And we've got 4 sprites, as you can see there. So let's go to the animation and change the horizontal frames to 4. And then we'll change the frame value to 1 by default. We have the green one by default. Next, the collision shape. So I'll select the collision shape. We'll make a new rectangle shape and we'll have extents of 48 by 48. We might need to adjust this later on when it comes to the frog going side to side, but we'll do that when we come to it. For now, we'll leave it at 48 by 48. Next, let's set up the animation. So I'm going to select the root node. Down the bottom, open up the animation window, click Add Animation Player. So it adds in the animation player. Click the animation button, New, and type Vanish for Vanish Animation. Then let's adjust the length of this by putting 1.5 into the box on the right hand side here. And then I'm going to click this little button down the bottom here just to fit to panel, so it fits across here. Now for the playhead here, we can either keep it at this sort of granularity, but I prefer to snap it a little bit better. So down the bottom right here, 0.1 for this, and make sure the snapping button is turned on here where my mouse is now. If that's blue, then you'll find that the playhead then snaps here. So I'm going to put that back at 0.0. Please make sure you've got 0.0 here, so it's right back at the start of the track. Then we're going to key the animation frames for the sprite. So I'm going to select the sprite 2D on the left-hand side here. And on the right-hand side, you should see these keys here. Now, if you don't see the keys, it might be because the animation window closed like this. Sometimes that happens. Don't worry though. Just simply select the node you want to animate, which is the sprite 2D, open up the animation window, and the keys should appear. So what we're going to do with the playhead at 00 here is key in this frame 1. So I'll click the key. That throws up a dialog asking if you want to create a reset track. We definitely do here because we're going to use that track to reset things when we become visible again. So we'll click create, and that should add a frame then at 00 here, which is this green sprite. At the same time, it's also added the reset animation. So you can already see that here. The reset animation is 0.001 seconds long. I think what it's intended for, if you're not aware, is literally just to reset things to a default state. So when you first open a scene, this one will play by default. You can select it to play it as well, and it basically puts things back as they intend to be at the start. So let's go back to the vanish here. Then what I'm going to do is scroll the playhead along to about here. It doesn't really matter where. Select the first frame, do Control D for delta on my computer. If you're on a Mac, it'll be Command D to duplicate. Then put the playhead about here, duplicate again, and then somewhere near the end, duplicate again. Now for this key here, what we want is we want value 2. For this one here, we need a value, I think 0, yeah. And for this one here, we need value 3. So this is sort of our disappearing animation. Then we need also the visibility as well. So at the start, we'll be visible, and at the end, we want to disappear. So I'll put the playhead back at the start here with the sprite 2D selected again. Go down on the right hand side to canvas item visibility. You can see visible is on. We'll key that in as a frame as well. Definitely add it to the reset track. Then I'm going to put the playhead right at the end and do the same as before. Select the key, do Control or Command and D to duplicate, select the key at the end, uncheck this. So it becomes invisible. So what we've got now is an animation where it disappears. And at any point, if I put the playhead, say here, we can select our reset animation and we get reset back to where we were. So I'll go back to the vanish animation, put the playheads back at the start, do Control S to save. That's our animation set up. Next, we need the timer. So select the root node. We can add a new node in here and we want a timer, if we can find it, timer node. Then on the right-hand side, make sure that's one shot because we're going to restart it each time. It'll have slightly different times. And the initial wait time doesn't really matter what that is actually. We can leave that at 1 second. We're going to set it inside the ready. Otherwise, everything's okay. So now what we need to do is add our logic in for the lily pad, which means extending the script that we already have for the lane item, which is attached to the lily pad here. So what we can do is right-click on the node here, so on the root node, extend the script, And now we find that we're inheriting from lane item, and we have lane item lily pad here. Template node default is fine. We can click create. That'll open the script. I'll close down the animation window and we can delete the process from here and do Ctrl+S to save. Next, let's drag in references to the animation player and the timer. So I'll drag those in here and the animation window is open again. So I'll close that down again. And then we can hook ourselves up also to the signals. So the window's going to open again, isn't it? So I'll left click on the animation player, hello window. On the right hand side with the signals, double click on the animation finished. Then the receiver method here, the on animation player animation finished, is a little bit long. So I'm going to leave this as on animation finished. I think that's a little bit better. Click connect, close down the animation window. That should be here. Then select the timer. On the right hand side, double click on the timeout and click connect. So we've now connected up both of those signals. Now we want to export the variables that I was talking about. So we've got a submerged time. It's the amount of time that will be submerged. Then we'll export another one. This one can be called the float time. And by default, we'll set that, say, to 5 seconds. And then we'll add in another float called start offset. And by default, this can be 0.0. And we're going to use this simply to offset when the whole process starts for the lily pad, so they're not all in exact synchronization with each other. Otherwise, it looks a little bit weird on the map. So the first thing we'll do is inside the ready is we'll start our timer. And we'll start that with that start offset. So timer.start and start offset. Now I have to be a little bit careful here because we're overriding the ready, which means we are replacing the functionality that's in the parent. And the parent is the lane item. If I remember correctly, we are doing something inside the ready here. We still need this to be done also in our lily pad. The flipping doesn't really matter, but the setting of the bounds will matter. So going back into the lily pad code then, what we'll make sure we do here is invoke super. That way we'll invoke the ready on the parent and we'll have all the bounds and everything set up. So now the timeout logic for the timer, where are we? I'll make a little bit of space, hopefully you can see something. So here, if the timer times out and the sprite is visible, that means we're about to vanish. So we need to play our vanish animation. So what we'll do here is we'll ask ourselves, is our sprite 2D visible? And if it is, then we can get hold of our animation player dot, and then we can play our vanish animation. Otherwise, the timer's timed out when we're not visible, which means we need to reveal ourselves. In other words, we need to play the reset animation. So we'll get hold of our animation player dot play, and we want to play the reset. At the same time as this, we've now become visible, so we're floating again. So we'll get hold of our timer, and then we'll start our timer with the float time. That nearly completes the entire logic. The only other thing we've got to do now is deal with the submerge time, and that's when the vanish animation has finished. So inside the animation finished here, we'll check first of all if the animation name that's finished is actually equal to the vanish, which I'll copy from here. And if it is, then we're going to get hold of our timer, and we're going to start that with the submerge time. And that should be pretty much all the logic we need actually for the lily pad to be working. So I'm going to go back to 2D view simply because it's a little bit nicer. Let's go to the level. We need to place now the lily pads. So on the left hand side here, where are we? We've got lane 2, that's this one here on the water lanes. Now if I remember correctly, this had 2 groups of 3. So I'm going to instantiate then. Where's our lily pad? There it is. Then use the move tool just to move this on a little bit. Then duplicate and put these next to each other. So we've got one group there, and then duplicate again and put these next to each other. Then on the right hand side, I'll select the inspector actually and select the first group here. And for the start offset, I'll put, let's say, 0.5 seconds in here. Leave the float time as 5 and the submerged as 2. And then select the second group of 3 here. On the right-hand side for the start offset, maybe we'll put that at 2 seconds here. I'll do Ctrl+S to save. So the first group should have 0.5 and the next group 2. Now, if you wanted, you could vary these inside the group so that they don't all disappear and appear together. I'm going to leave them appearing and disappearing together. Then we need to set up the other lane as well. That's the lane 5 here. So again, instantiate a lily pad. And in this case, they were in groups, I think, of 2 on this one. And there were 3 groups of 2 in this case, actually. So I'll duplicate this group here and put this one here and duplicate again. Maybe put this one here like this. Yep, I think that should do. Then for these here, for the offset, I'll put 3. Really, it's all about just making them all slightly different from what they were. So make this 1.5. And I'll leave this first one here, actually, at 0. And that should be the lily pads set up. I'd like to go to debug and turn on visible collision shapes. And let's then run the application. And we should see hopefully lily pads. Yep, there we go. Good. Oh, that's good. And they're not all in sync, which is the main thing. So they're reappearing and then disappearing. They're not disabling the collision or anything like that. We'll deal with that later on. But they are now appearing and disappearing. And the frog as well should also be able to collide with these. I'm going to give this a quick crack if I can. It's the cars that are the problem. But hopefully now we can collide with the lily pads. I wanted to check. I'm going to speed this up and very quickly check that we can collide and everything's okay. Okay, so I am able to collide with the lily pads. I just checked. Excellent, cool. So I'll close that down and close down the output and go to the debug actually and uncheck the visible collision shapes. Just look at this once more, make sure it looks okay. Yeah, that seems to be okay for me. Yeah, they're all animating and fading. Cool. All right then. So close down and close down the output. And I think that's a good place to stop this video. We've made really good progress again. So well done. We've got all of the items now on the map and scrolling and behaving as we want them to. So thanks very, very much for watching. What we're going to do in the next one is we're going to set things up so that we can actually ride the items in the water section and hopefully then land on the home bases. So I look forward to seeing you in that one.